from LPI Studios in Memphis, Tennessee, it's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard Robertson.
NFL grossed $13 billion in 2016. NBA, $6 billion.
Jennifer Conroy.
Last year, it was very distinctly and unanimously, I might add, Curry. To now, everybody stepped their game up.
And the magnificent Larry Robinson.
I think they're extremely hungry for the playoffs. I don't think these guys like going through the dog days of the season.
It's R&R on Sports.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I am Howard Robertson.
And I am Jennifer Conroy.
And I am the most amazing, most fantastic, most astronomical, fantastical Larry Robinson, y'all. What's happening, America?
And the crowd goes crazy.
Is that what you wanted? That's what you needed?
Yep.
That's what I needed. You know, this is how I get up. You know, this is like getting up for a fight. You know, if you get up for a prize fight, you gotta,
But you know what?
Together.
You know what I heard?
What
I heard? Just
you?
like last week, your lips bumping into each other yet again.
He be channeling his inner LeVar Ball.
You sound like the one on the Cosby Show. What's going on?
I'm ready for some basketball.
Sports. You ready for some
Yes.
You've gone through withdrawal. The down dog days of no finals.
I've been watching some baseball, some soccer, a little hockey.
It's starting finally. Man, somebody was talking about, you guys were talking about 2 days between every game.
It's going to take forever.
Man, I'm not really feeling the long wait in between the games. The fact that during Memorial Day weekend, we didn't have any basketball.
That's right.
Any NBA at all.
That's right. And so major sports fans don't have major sports fans don't have a major sport to watch now. So I think they're going to be there. I don't think it's going to have.
So the NBA has a captive audience.
They got a captive dadgum audience right now. I mean, what are they going to do?
Well, listen.
Yeah, you got a choice. You can watch
playoff
baseball
ratings,
or you can watch Stanley Cup.
Playoff ratings are up 4%.
For the Indy 500.
But the regular season NBA was down 14%. Why? Because I think people are over inundated with options.
I mean,
it's too many options. Like, I was thinking about buying the league pass.
You don't need it.
I don't need the league pass because literally I got ESPN on Wednesday. I got TNT on Thursday. I got ESPN on Friday. I got
the internet.
And you definitely got the internet.
You got the Grizzlies whenever they play.
And the Grizzlies whenever they play. It's like basketball all the time, but it kind of reminds me of the NFL.
Yeah.
NFL. It's football all the time. But
only difference is much shorter season and fewer teams.
I was reading that the Power 5 conferences, the NCAA Power 5 conferences are structuring deals with the social media outlets because of all the cord cutting. They believe that ESPN's place as far as the premier outlet for sports and whatnot is diminishing. So now you have all these power conferences that are also doing side deals with Twitter, Snapchat,
following in the
Facebook.
footsteps of the WNBA.
Lisa Borders, our
Innovative.
guest on that we'll talk about in ICONversation, streaming WNBA games on Twitter.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Innovative.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Everything's gone up. So before, in the time we have less, what do y'all think about Tiger?
Oh, man, Tiger.
I don't like the way it was portrayed. Now, if he blows a 0.0, as far as the breathalyzer, we know that it was not alcohol.
And the misinformation that came out before any of the factual information came out painted a very different picture than the one that actually happened. But interesting that they have body cam, working order technology for Tiger and not for other police officers.
It wasn't any cameras for LeBron though.
Oh, of course not.
When they were writing, when they paint with as ubiquitous as cameras are in nice neighborhoods, but they can't find a person who
the most troubling
scribbled the N-word on it.
The most troubling thing about that to me, obviously beyond the act itself, is that they knew where LeBron lived.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have a fantastic conversation. But first, you get to get your laugh on. We'll be right back.
This is LeBron's world. nothing except maybe a girl. Born in Akron, a young mother's son. Didn't take him long to see he was the one. He grew and got some height, started playing basketball. Fools tried to check him, and he made them all fall. This is LeBron's world, and it don't need nothing except a girl. Didn't need no college. He went straight to the pros. Played right there in Cleveland, and everybody knows. He took them to the playoffs and the finals too. He didn't win no titles, but he did all he could do. This is LeBron's world, and it don't need nothing except maybe a girl. He went to Miami to play with the Heat. Won back-to-back titles. Even tried to three-peat. Now he's back in Cleveland, and you know he's mega rich. Done made Dan Gilbert his millionaire bitch. This is LeBron's world, and it don't need nothing except maybe Reverend Al's girl.
R&R on Sports, part of the Kazuki Network.
This is MJ, and when I'm not in Chicago hanging out with Scotty and the rest of these guys, I'm always listening to R&R on Sports.
It's Mix, Moscato, it's Frizz in the bottle, it's Nicki full throttle, it's all. Swimming in the grotto, we winning in the lotto, we dipping in the pot of blue photo. Getting so good, it's dripping on wood, get a ride in that engine that could go. Batman robbing it, bang bang cocking it, Queen Nicki dominant, prominent. It's me, Jesse and Ari. If they test me, they sorry.
And we are back. Hope you enjoyed that, and it made you.
Did you make you laugh a little bit?
Knocked over your little tickle box. Your little tickle box got knocked over.
Tickle me Elmo. You know how it looked like a big old tickle me Elmo. Oh.
He said tickle box.
Your tickle box got knocked over. Okay.
I wish it would.
Now you keep wearing all that red, brother. You know we gonna have to put you on Sesame Street.
All right. Now, so yeah, Tiger, yeah, but you should never expect news media to be equitable, fair, balanced. No, they don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. Their motivation, two things, 2 R's, ratings and revenue. So ratings generates revenue, and so you don't get that being fair and balanced. So
you think Tiger's done?
I think he's confifi. Poor Tiger.
So,
yes.
I don't think he's done because of this incident.
He just had surgery.
From a timing standpoint, his time has come to really evolve to the next level, and I guess that's senior. But I don't expect him to do anything. Do
you think he'll play the senior tour?
I hope he does.
Well, I don't. I hope he
plays
evolves
the senior tour
into
when he gets older.
Finding what his purpose is at this stage of his life.
It's interesting though, if
because
you look
I don't see him actually being able to compete with the 4 back surgeries and the torque that it requires on the back, lower back, to be able to swing a golf club, I don't see him being able to get beyond the damage that's taking place with the surgery.
Kanye West being one of them. I think that Tiger's lost a little bit of direction. He got divorced. He's got kids. So maybe what he needs is a little bit of soul searching.
I agree with you. I think that father figure, here's what I call it. Tiger grew up, and I can't say that, I don't know enough about Kanye, but Tiger absolutely grew up in what I call insulated isolation, in terms of he grew up as a golfer. His daddy was grooming him to be the greatest golfer of all time, and so he didn't have typical boys and friends and whatnot like we have growing up, and a structure, an extended family structure like that with friends. And when you don't, and your daddy is your main thing, when he is gone, that casts you into, because think about it, when one of your parents pass, well, you guys haven't experienced this, but I have. When your parents pass away, one of your parents or both of your parents pass away, then that insulation becomes your friends. And if you don't have an inner sanctum of friends like that, it takes an effect on you. And I think we're seeing, and I'm not saying he took medication probably because of pain and the operations that he has and the maladies that he has in terms of his body, but he needs some boys.
Yeah.
And that was something that I have to give Scott Van Pelt on ESPN a lot of credit and kudos, because he talked about that. He talked about the fact, I don't know who his boys are. I don't know the people that he keeps around him. He said he texts Tiger and just ask him, "Are you okay?" And that way that your friends are able to pull you back, or at least be there. Whether it's a divorce, whether it's a parent,
and that
passing,
know enough about you to be able to
got
do
the
that.
history, and be like, "Yo, man up," because it's things like that. Having my boys there to say, "Look, dude,
you're okay.
Quit tripping.
Absolutely.
Quit tripping.
Absolutely.
Man up, dude.
Absolutely.
You people depending on you. Da 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 da."
And anybody in any position of responsibility needs somebody that can pull them into a room, close the door, and get in their face.
But here's another thing. When he came out with that Carbonation bull crap, that caca.
Forever.
Guess what?
Now, your boys would have backhanded.
Well, wait, your boys would have gotten your grill.
Right.
But here's another thing. They didn't put Carbonation on that police report.
No, they did not.
They ain't put Carbonation. They put black. They put black. They just like, we don't care about your mama Catilda. We don't care about nobody else. We don't care about your Native American background,
and could have called him the same thing that they wrote on LeBron's wall.
But they sure enough fixed up his mugshot and made him look pretty.
Now that was ESPN. No, that was ESPN. So man, tell us, we got the NBA's awards and whatnot coming up.
Yes, you do. And let's start with your choice for NBA Coach of the Year. Will it be Mike D'Antoni, Houston Rockets, Greg Popovich, San Antonio, Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat?
Pop.
I'm saying Pop. I'm saying Pop too.
You saying Pop?
I'm saying Pop.
I mean, I might go somewhere even like a Brett Brown.
Or Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens would actually be my.
That wasn't one of the.
Yeah, choices. I know, but in that of those three, yes, I'm going with Spoelstra. Because Spoelstra didn't have nothing.
He did work.
He didn't have anything. He got a whole bunch of cats on second-year contracts, extended 10-day. He got Dion Waiters playing amazing.
Yes, he does.
And then you got the big boy in the middle. I mean, I think Spoelstra's done an amazing job.
So we say D'Antoni, you say Spoelstra. The Kia NBA.
No, we say Pop.
Oh, we say Pop. I'm sorry. You say Spoelstra.
Come on.
The Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Kawhi Leonard.
I like Rudy.
I got to go with Draymond Green. As much as I don't like the Warriors, Draymond Green is a force. He is an absolute unadulterated force.
I would agree. The Rookie of the Year, Brogdon, Embiid, or Saric?
as much as I hate and what's interesting is Sark and Embiid are on the same team.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Brogdon.
I like Brogdon.
Brogdon, if you're looking at the body of work for his rookie season, I'd go with Brogdon.
Yep.
And I go with Brogdon only because Embiid played 20 games.
Yeah.
He played 20-something games and maybe 30 games. But Embiid by far is the most impressive rookie. But this is his fourth year
in the
league. Although he's not been on the court, he's been getting paid, and the lifestyle of the NBA player.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I could see. I'm going with Brogdon because he's the real rookie, and he had a great year.
I'm going with Embiid because I like him. NBA Most Improved Player, Giannis
Antetokounmpo?
Yes, thank you. Gobert or Nikola Jovic.
I like Jokic.
Jovic is nice. But I'm going to go with Gobert because Gobert literally has become a force on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Offensive end. He's one of them guys you got to scheme for.
I'm going with GA.
You going with Antetokounmpo?
I love Antetokounmpo.
But I do too. I love the Greek freak. But the fact of the matter is, he was doing some of this last year.
Okay.
I will say, as a homer, I'm disappointed that Mike Conley was left off the MIP list.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed.
I would have to agree with you on
And
that.
I'm disappointed that somebody's left off this next one. 6-man award. Eric Gordon, Andre Iguodala, Lou Williams.
Zach Randolph.
Zach Randolph.
I'd have to go with Eric Gordon. I think Eric Gordon, when Harden was not at his best,
Eric Gordon picked it up.
Eric Gordon really picked up the scoring load.
Yeah.
And coming from all the dysfunction he's had from the Pelicans to I think maybe the Clippers and all that garbage.
He stepped it up.
He has truly stepped it up.
Lou Williams did too.
I would say either him or Lou Williams.
Yeah.
Houston Rockets should win that. Lisa Borders, president of the WNBA.
Shirley Franklin understudy, big political figure out of Atlanta, and the best P.T. Barnum impersonator that could possibly be speaking on behalf of the WNBA. The sister is bad.
All of that right here, right now on R&R on Sports. Don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be back with more after this.
Oh! Russell Westbrook! I got the feeling now.
R&R on Sports with ICONversation.
Ken Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Catch ICONversation on R&R on Sports, part of the Katsuki Network.
And we are back. R&R on Sports with ICONversation. And as I said before, we love to introduce you guys to new people. And we are very, very pleased to introduce you to literally the brother that runs the NBA.
All right now. You can say it on. That's a double entendre.
The brother that doesn't run in the NBA, but runs the NBA.
All right.
We're talking about Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association. Welcome to R&R on Sports.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you.
Man.
So, no, you wait a minute.
The journey.
You wait a minute. That's what we're going to add. Let me do my job, please.
All right, man. You
Please
about this
do my
far
job.
from being
So, Mark,
fired.
can you tell us where you began your journey into being the COO of the NBA?
Thank you, JC.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, JC. I'm glad there's an adult there that can get to the questions.
Exactly.
So I started my journey. My background is in consumer packaged goods and marketing, and I went to Cornell University.
All right.
When I came out, I worked for Procter & Gamble.
Yes,
and then
sir.
I worked for then I worked for the Clorox company. But I decided I wanted to go pursue a job in sports. So went back, got my MBA, came out, worked for Major League Baseball right after I graduated from Harvard Business School, and then the NBA recruited me from Major League Baseball back in 1999.
How cool is that?
And I started at the NBA as a director, and then over the last 18 years or so, just moved my way up from director to senior director to vice president to senior vice president, EVP, and then when Adam Silver took over as commissioner for David Stern 3.5 years ago, he then tapped me to be the deputy commissioner and COO.
All right, so what is the difference between the David Stern era and the Adam Silver era of the NBA?
You guys trying to get me in trouble?
Yes, he is.
I'll tell you what, they are both incredible leaders, and I've had the opportunity to work for both of them and learn an incredible amount from both of them. I'd say one of the big differences is just the changing landscape of media. It's always been changing, but today, in the last 3.5 years, there's been such a big focus and shift to how people consume content, how they're consuming it digitally, socially, and so so Adams had to be at the forefront of those kinds of issues. David was a visionary, and David really set the stage for us to become a global organization, and we are so grateful that we had him as a leader during the time that we had him.
Now, Mark, I have a question in regards to the playoffs going on. Isaiah Thomas just got a $25,000 fine for directing language at a fan. We've seen Major League Baseball take a hard stance on this issue and going so far as to ban people from stadiums for life. Does the NBA have plans to address this issue as well?
Well, look, we do. We have policies in place in terms of conduct of our fans in arena. And we deal with that very seriously. And there have been fans who have had inappropriate comments, and in lots of cases, those fans are thrown out of the arena. In some cases, they're banned from NBA games, depending on the nature of their comments and their actions. So, yes, this is something, you have to maintain a civility there, both amongst the players and the fans when it comes to our games. And I think it goes both ways.
Interesting. Now, in your position, which is a very, very unique one, from a administrative and management perspective, you arguably help preside over an employee base that's unlike any other major sport, professional sport. How does how do you approach that, being African American, with the majority of the NBA players being African American as well?
Yeah, look, one, we embrace diversity, right? So me being in this position, I recognize the importance of diversity and inclusion, and we have an organization, quite frankly, that reflects that. If you look at, there's obviously me in this position as deputy commissioner, our president of basketball operations, our president of league operations is a gentleman named Byron Spruell, who's also African American. The president of the WNBA is a sister named Lisa Borders. The president of our G League, our newly named G League, by the way, it was the Development League, but Gatorade has come on board.
Yes, they have. And we're getting a team here in South Haven.
That's right. So that's run by Malcolm Turner, another African American young man who I brought on board. And our head of HR, Eric Hutchison's African American, and we have a chief diversity and inclusion officer, or a steward, who's also African American. So you can see that the leadership of the league, it's not just me, but many of my other colleagues are running the other leagues within this organization. And so we've always valued that. We've always valued diversity and inclusion, and making sure that our workforce was representative and looked representative of the population, and that we were making sure that the right people were being hired and put in positions to be successful.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking to Mark Tatum, Chief Operating Officer of the NBA. Mark, when you talk about, you mentioned the G League, what happened to, number one, make Gatorade want to brand the G League, and what will be different this as it relates to the G League versus the D League as we've come to know it?
Yeah, it's a great question. The G League is, Gatorade saw the excitement there, and they saw the direct tie between the NBA and this new elite minor league. And, we're going to next year have 26 G League teams. Wow. And that number has grown year after year after year. And every single one of those 26 teams are going to be affiliated with an NBA team on a one-to-one basis. And so what they saw was, hey, this league is going to be the future league of NBA players and NBA talent. And we're already seeing that so many of our NBA players already have G League experience. What's going to be new about this partnership is the opportunity to bring Gatorade's Sports Science Institute and having their nutritionists, having their scientists really bring to bear the best technology, the best in nutrition, hydration to these elite athletes to really get them prepared for the next level in the NBA. And that's what we're so excited about. That's what they're so excited about, is working together to make sure that these athletes are given the resources necessary to perform at their highest level and make it to the NBA.
Now, do you see more high school players jumping directly to the G League versus going to college for it? Because, it sounds like you're going to really teach them about the lifestyle of an NBA player as well. So do you see that being a more adequate path for high school players trying to make it into the NBA?
I think that remains to be seen. I think it's certainly a path, but look, I think there's a lot of high school kids out there that dream about playing for Duke and Kentucky and Syracuse and St. John's and Gonzaga, right? So it will be a path for those high school kids that may not want to go that college path, but I think that remains to be seen.
Well, there are also rising salaries in the G League, correct? A pretty major jump.
Well, there are. So what we did this year as part of our new collective bargaining agreement with the Players Association is we implemented for the first time two-way contracts. And so NBA teams now can offer up a player a two-way contract that would have them primarily playing in the G League, but they would have the opportunity to be called up to the NBA team for a certain number of games. And so as a result, those salaries are going to rise and increase for those two-way players.
Kind of like redshirting. So let me ask you this. Also with the CBA, one of the things that went away was the quote-unquote kind of mercy rule, where if you acquired a player who happened to be really injured and therefore couldn't play anymore, but you'd spent a lot of money on him, there was kind of an out. Is there going to be a substitute for that?
That's one of those things that we are absolutely looking at. We just have to make sure that our teams have some flexibility there, and that they're able to put together rosters of players who can compete for their teams and compete on the court.
And the roster expands as well, right? We're going from I think 15 to 17.
That's correct. With the addition of these two-way players.
So much to talk about, so much more to talk about. And we're going to be back with Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner of the NBA, right after this. Stay with us.
Entertainment.
Do you love sports?
Do you like entertainment? Then tune in to a little R&R on Sports every Saturday morning. There's no other sports show like R&R on Sports anywhere. Commentary, interviews, call-in, and always big fun. It's a little R&R on Sports, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
Hi, this is Rika Ketchum.
This is John Hollinger, Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Tim Brown, NFL Hall of Fame inductee. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
Say the Cavs go, and they beat this great team that the Warriors have assembled. Is he the greatest of all time?
If they can pull this out, they're going to be one of the best teams.
And I'm so tired of everybody bringing up Michael Jordan.
Go.
When they start talking about how great LeBron James is. You got a whole generation of folks ain't never seen Michael Jordan play. When you try to play small ball against the Cavs, Kevin Love goes inside and just punishes you.
R&R on Sports. Part of the Kazuki Network.
Gold jewelry
shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on ice. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like.
Back with ICONversation. Great conversation with Lisa Borders, president of the WNBA. Now, Lisa, you were saying...
I was saying that I had a conversation with Jewel Lloyd, who made the recommendation, she's one of our star players from the Seattle Storm, that we should stream our games on Twitter. She was playing in China, able to watch the Super Bowl on Twitter, and she said we too should stream our games so that our fans around the world can actually watch our games during the season.
Awesome.
I brought that back into the league to our content folks. The lawyers got on it, contacted Twitter. Bam, you got a deal. 3-year deal. We streamed our first game this past Sunday at opening weekend. It was Mother's Day. I am happy to report that some 1.1 million viewers watched that game on Twitter. And Larry, let me give you guys a little bit of context for that. I am under the impression, it is my understanding, that NFL football, when they stream on Thursday nights, they average 3.5 million viewers. So we are being compared in the WNBA to football. Now, we all know football is religion in many parts of the country.
Yes, it is.
Right? So to get to the 1.1 million viewer mark,
a third of what they get,
what? Somebody should say amen.
Amen.
Now, speaking of that distribution and speaking of marketing, describe for our listeners, give us a profile of your best customer, your best WNBA fan.
Kobe Bryant.
So here's what I would tell you, folks. Everybody and anybody is capable of being a fan. What we find is that many folks don't know about us. So this opportunity, we are so grateful to you all in the show and R&R for giving us a platform to talk about the league, to talk about our players, to talk about our growth strategies with things like Twitter and FanDuel, our new fantasy partnership. This is all about growing the league. People can't express a preference and attend a game if they don't know we exist. It starts with awareness, then with preference, and then acting on that preference. Listen, we play basketball, but we're in the entertainment business.
Absolutely.
So we recognize that people have to know about you in order to come and see you play, or watch you on ESPN, or watch you on Twitter, or on League Pack. In Arena is by far and away the best experience. But if you're not in a market that has a team, we are now putting tools and partnerships in place that allow you to engage with the league. And folks like you guys are giving us the platform to share that with everybody.
Lisa, as the president of WNBA, and you once again talk about being in the entertainment industry, you know that most of the players are going overseas and playing ball during the off season. How do you bring the world? Is it based on these new relationships that you're bringing the world to the WNBA game? And then if that's the case, what is the plan for global expansion of the WNBA brand?
So you ask a very interesting question. Let me just say, first and foremost, we talk about the off season. There is no off season for the WNBA.
Okay.
We have a playing season and what we call a planning season. Our players play year-round, and they do that because we are a young league. We are not paying them what I expect we will pay them in 10 years or 20 years because we are building our fan base just the way a company would build its customer base. And so it takes time to grow the league. We are the most competitive league in the world. We have the best talent. So our players develop their skill in the U.S., and then they leverage that skill in the international markets during what we call the planning season. Partnerships like Twitter actually elevate the league and allow our players to be visible 24/7 by 365. So they are here from May to October, and then they're in Russia, China, Brazil, Australia, India, you name it, they are in the international market. What we find is that we have often not leveraged that experience that our players have. If you think about most Americans, they don't usually leave their home city, let alone their home country or continent. Our players are typically on a different continent every year, at least two. They're in North America here in the U.S., and then they're in Asia, or they're in Africa, or they're in South America. They are citizens of the world already. What we have not done is captured their experiences and brought them back to the fans here or shared them as globally as we could have. Things like Twitter will allow us to do that, as well as FanDuel, our new fantasy game partnership.
I have a question in regards to Tamika Catchings, who we love on this show. We've had her on, and who obviously has a fantastic legacy with the WNBA. She's now moved to the front office of the Pacers. And conversely, you have Kobe Bryant, who I understand is doing some work with the WNBA in LA. Do you expect there to be more crossover as time goes on?
Absolutely. So Tamika is the grande dame, right? She retired last year after 15 solid years in the league. She was as active off the court as she was on the court with her Catch the Stars Foundation. She will always be a part of this family. She is the truest ambassador of the game. Kobe, likewise, is an equal ambassador of this game. He tweeted a tune-in alert for our draft this year. He was at the finals last year. He was just at the opening game for the LA Sparks this past weekend. But Kobe is not alone. If you look at our Watch Me Work campaign, which we started last year, our big marketing campaign, have Watch Me Work 2.0 this year, there are what we call tribute spots. So we have spots where our players are in the commercial, and then we have a spot exclusively for our big brothers in the NBA. So whether it was LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant or CP3, all of those guys have given us support then, and it continues. This is not rehearsed. They come to the game, sit on the front row, tweet about our players, have fun with our players. This is a basketball family, and family members support one another. So do I expect it to grow? Of course. With every class that comes into the NBA, and you know we're getting ready to have a new draft class,
Absolutely.
We recognize that there is much mad love and respect between the leagues. So for us, it's all about growing top-line revenue, which is the same for any business. So whether you're talking about consumer goods or you're talking about transportation, because we could be talking about Delta Airlines, we could be talking about anybody, Amazon, you are always trying to grow your top line. The way we grow top line is selling tickets and having people inside arenas. And the more capital you have to work with, the more you can share on your expense side of the ledger. Remember, I'm running a P&L, a profit and loss statement. Right. I want to understand, because I have the privilege of leading, but that means I must be a good steward of the resources that we have. And we're in growth mode. So you have to be careful with all of your resources, money first among equals. But the answer, too, is driving top-line revenue. You can never cut your way to profitability. Many people go into businesses and just cut. That is not a sustainable strategy. That is a tactic if you think that you are overstaffed or you are overexpensed in one particular line item. But that is not a sustainable strategy for growth. So our focus is on top-line revenue and growing the business, which will allow us not only to pay our players, it will allow us to expand and do all the other things that typical businesses do.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with WNBA President Lisa Borders.
Lisa, I have to tell you that as a young girl coming up in the 90s, I watched a good deal of the WNBA because basketball, for me, has always been where it's at. So much so that the influence on me that I remember from the beginning was that Reggie Miller is Cheryl's little brother. And he always has been, and he always will be. So I cannot wait to see how the WNBA affects future generations of girls coming up.
Well, thank you for that. Our goal is to be successful so that we can hand off the baton to the next generation, right? The goal is always to leave an environment better than you found it. You need to have positive impact. You're always going to absorb some negative adversity because that's the way life is. But this league is resilient. We are less than a generation old. A generation is 25.5 years. We are 21 years old, and we have accomplished a lot. But trust and believe, we are not done. We are just getting started.
All right,
I would
right.
invite your listeners to come out and see a game. The season is well underway. The All-Star Game is July 22nd in Seattle. The finals will be in September. It's going to be a fantastic season. Come out and see it. Let's go.
And with that, we're going to thank the evangelist Lisa Borders for bringing a word to us here on R&R on Sports. Now, we ain't going there. We ain't going there. Lisa, we always ask and are not going to depart right now. We're going to ask. We always ask our guests, especially excellent ones like yourself, if you would agree to come back on R&R on Sports at some point in the future. Would you do that?
Absolutely. It would be my privilege and a pleasure.
All righty. And with that, we're going to be back with more R&R on Sports after this. Don't go anywhere.
Jump in the Cadillac, girl, let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just to put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby, you deserve it all. And I'm gonna give it to you. Gold jewelry shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on us.
Rolling down the street with my radio on, listen to Funky Politics.
The mayor of the city of Memphis, Mayor Jim Strickland. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. We keep it real, we keep it right, and we keep it funky.
Funky Politics, part of the Katsukian Network.
I'll play the blues for you.
Blues in the Basement with Stephanie and T-Shaw.
Some great festivals going on around the tri-state area.
Got your dancing shoes?
Man, as long as I'm with you, baby, I'm always be on my toes.
Drop that zero.
Bring your blues, boo.
I got them.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Blues in the Basement.
The thrill is gone.
Blues in the Basement, part of the Katsukian Network.
The thrill is gone away.
Say the Cavs go, and they beat this great team that the Warriors have assembled. Is he the greatest of all time?
If they can pull this out, they're going to be one of the best teams.
And I'm so tired of everybody bringing up Michael Jordan.
Go.
When they start talking about how great LeBron James is. You know, you got a whole generation of folks ain't never seen Michael Jordan play. When you try to play small ball against the Cavs, Kevin Love goes inside and just punishes you.
R&R on Sports, part of the Katsukian Network.
Hello, I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm Jay to the C.
And I am the fantastic, the amazing, the phenomenal Larry Robinson.
With your show, R&R on Sports, every Saturday morning right here on the Sports Byline Network.
We have ICONversation interviews with amazing icons such as Tommy Smith.
But on the LMAO side, we're going to make you laugh.
With only the up-to-date commentary every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Byline Network.
R&R on Sports, part of the Katsukian Network.
I'll play the blues for you.
Blues in the Basement with Stephanie and T-Shaw.
Some great festivals going on around the tri-state area.
Got your dancing shoes?
Man, as long as I'm with you, baby, I'm always be on my toes.
Drop that zero.
Bring your blues, boo.
I got them.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Blues in the Basement.
The thrill is gone.
Blues in the Basement, part of the Katsukian Network.
The thrill is gone away.
And it's our time to say goodbye
Sayonara.
to all our company. MICKEYMOUSE. We are headed toward the door, but before we go, I want to shout out. I want to shout out somebody whose name I don't even know.
What do you mean? What you talking about? What you talking about? Then how you gonna shout him out?
I am shouting.
This ain't no classified ass.
This man that I saw on TV that went in after his daughter or his granddaughter after the sea lion pulled her in the water.
Yeah.
He just went straight into protection mode, jumped in, and got his baby.
Wow.
And that looked like, that reminded me of me. I absolutely would have done the same thing instead of people standing there looking and waiting to see if she was going to.
The baby gone. Did you
see the video?
I did.
He reached up and grabbed the back of it. She was sitting on a platform, on a thing there. He reached up, grabbed the back of her, pants and
He was
shirt
in the
and
water.
just pulled her in.
Yep.
Like a 600-pound sea lion.
Wow.
And pulled her under the water.
Yeah, he pulled her down.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, he turned loose. So,
Speaking of babies, real quick, I want to shout out Earl Smith Jr., otherwise known as J.R. Smith. His baby was born 5 months premature. And if you haven't read the article in ESPN, it's ESPN's website, ESPN.com.
I think it's on.
It's an amazing article on the evolution of J.R. Smith, and he talks about his baby and what she means and how she's affected him. And I think it was just an excellent article. The vulnerability of a man, and then the fact that you love something more than you love yourself.
Let us say this. We appreciate you guys staying with us and listening to us every week. And we appreciate it. Talk it up, subscribe and share and all of that. And don't leave us. We will be back this place next week.
Same time.
Same time, same place. Y'all take care of yourselves and take care of each other. R&R is out.
R&R on Sports is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Web designer Daniel Coates, executive producer Larry Robinson, written by Howard Robertson, and produced by Reggie Fine. R&R on Sports, part of the Kazuki Network.